Hello everybody and welcome to lesson 6 of your diploma in Photoshop, creating image composites. So at this stage we've covered the core kind of requirements that we need for creating our own image composites, which is, as you know, the tools, which obviously are our adjustments, which we covered in lesson 3. We have our layers and our masking, which we covered in lesson 4, and our selection tools, which we covered in our previous lesson. Well, today is all about laying out and kind of building upon these skills and showing you a few more kind of tricks, a few tips for adding on top of everything that we've kind of used to make image composites. But at this stage, you're all pretty much in the know-how of how to do it as well, okay? Now, so again, folks, just going to do a very quick sound test at the beginning of the lesson. I can already see some people typing in, which is good. Means everything's working. Shelly's in waiting for this lesson. We've Christy there, Stephen as well, Carolyn, Peter, Ronnie, Jordan, James, Jonathan. Absolutely perfect, folks. So I can see a few names, lots of names popping in. The question box is alive by the looks of it, which means everything is working perfectly fine. So we can continue with today's lesson, okay? Now, what we're going to cover today, folks, is our image composites, okay? So we're going to dive straight into image composites so we can kind of, I suppose, get our creative juices flowing. We're just going to basically use a lot of Photoshop today. Not many slides at all. Mainly just Photoshop, okay? So I do obviously have a slide or two, but majority of today's lesson will be practical. So, for anyone unsure on what an image composite is, or pretty much anyone who is too shy to type in and ask what an image composite is, because there is always one or two people out there that are a little bit unsure. We'll break it down for you. An image composite basically is one image stacked on top of another image. So basically, you've already seen it. Once we have one image on top of another one, using our layers, we've created an image composite. Obviously, we can take it a step further and be a little bit more creative or professional about it, but realistically, it's just one image stacked on top of another one. Okay? Now, the composite, folks, basically is the combining of visual elements from separate sources into single images. That's just a nicer way of explaining that it's one image stacked on top of another. It's combining multiple images into one finalized image. Now, often this is to create the illusion that all those images are part of the overall image, or that they are realistically sat there. And really good photoshopped images you would not be able to tell are part of different images. That they would all seem like that's the original image, which is the overall goal of an image composite. Again, you can be extremely kind of creative about it, or you can be completely realistic. There's two sides of the spectrum depending on what you're going for. Okay, now, so this is possibly the first image composite that we've all seen. You've seen this image before, folks, where it's literally just the road with the background in here, and we change the background. So I'm going to recreate this image for everybody again. We're going to change the background a few times, and we're going to look at how to add in different color adjustments so we get the tones to match, okay? And then I'll have a few more images that we'll play around with so you get the idea of what we can do now that we understand our selections, layers, masking, and adjustments. So if everybody's happy and everybody's ready to go, I'm going to jump straight into my Photoshop. I already have some images slotted and ready to go, like a cooking show. But basically we have our background here, folks. This is the original image. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this sky and we're going to remove it. So at this stage, folks, I suppose we can kind of have a look at how the tools and the progression of how the course has developed to where we are now. So we've dealt with our layers. We're going to start off with selections. So we're going to work a little bit backwards, but I'm not going to use the eraser or anything like that, folks. We're going to use masking. So we're going to take our selection tool. Does anybody want to quickly type in, out of the selection tools, what would be the best for removing this kind of blurry background? Because they're all muted colors, they're all very similar colors. What would you think would be best? Would we have our marquee, our lasso, our magic wand, or our quick selection? What would you prefer, folks? What do you think would work. So Haley, Ronnie, Steve coming in with the quick selection. Katrina saying marquee. You would have to. It would be a lot harder to do the marquee because you'd have to adjust a lot of it. So you technically could use the marquee and then the lasso tool with the add and subtract. But yeah, the quick selection tool would be possibly the easiest to use in this scenario. Okay, so what I'm going to do is literally just with our quick selection tool, we're going to select the background. Because of the muted colors that are in here, because all the colors are very similar, as you can see, eventually it's figured out where the edge detection is, so where the difference is between the sky and the next object, which is the rocks here. So there's a little bit extra that I would like to do, folks. I would like zoom in with my zoom tool or pressing control plus and minus. Spacebar will give you the hand for dragging around, or the tools, these tools just here. And what we'll do, folks, is with our plus on our selection tool, we'll just kind of fix this little area here. Okay. With our minus, what we'll do is we'll just fix this little area here. Come back to our plus and we'll just fix in this here. Perfect. Okay. So we'll zoom back out again. Again, folks, zoom tool is said, or you can use your control and plus or minus, okay? Which is a quicker way of doing it. Now, we've made our selection and we have selected the background. Now, this is not what we want to do initially, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask this now. But if I was to add a mask on, we would actually hide the ground here that we want, the foreground of the image that we want to keep, and the background is what we originally want to remove would stay. So we do not want to do that. Instead, we want to inverse our selection. So I'm going to go to our select option up top here and use inverse. Now, if you want to get used to your shortcuts, folks, that's Shift Control I or Command Shift and I on a Mac. Again, I always recommend you get used to your shortcuts. So now we've actually, even though we selected the background, we've actually now inversed it. So we've selected everything else that's in here. And the reason it's easier to select the background because of the muted colors. We would have a harder time trying to come in and pick up on all of these shrubbery here, the roads and the different colours that change. Maya's coming in with the inverse there, thank you very much. So what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to add on a mask now. And this is non-destructive editing. As you can see, my mask is on the layers panel here, so I'll drag this out so we can see what we're doing. On the layers panel here, we have black to conceal and white to reveal. So the white is showing everything here and the black is hiding everything. I could literally get my paintbrush and I could paint white in here and bring whatever detail I wanted back in. Okay, or I can use black to hide extra detail. Doesn't make much of a difference, but just so you understand again the concept of masking. Mike, you could duplicate the background first if you want, but I'm working non-destructively, so it doesn't make much of a difference because I haven't actually altered the original image. Okay? Now, just going to basically come in here and work with our layers, folks. Now, so I have different images here and here, folks, so we're gonna change the sky. So we'll start with the original one. And we're just going to move these layers. So I'm going to unlock the background. And we're just going to use our move tool. And we're going to drag. And we're going to drop. We're going to then move layer 1. Okay. And I'll name it. So we'll name it. We'll just name it sky because it's our bright sky. Okay. Now. And then it's just about putting it in place, folks. It's about being on the right layer and putting it in its place. And wherever you think it should be. So maybe about like that. And this is technically our first image composite. This is all we need to do. Well, there's a lot more we can do in terms of putting other objects into images. But in this instance, we've changed the background of the image itself. So this is basically our first image composite. Now, you probably haven't noticed this issue just yet, but I will be showing you how to sort it out in a moment or two. Can everybody see this option here? What's happening here, folks, is called a halo effect. So we actually have some kind of, I'd say, we have some pixels left over from our original sky that we don't want, which means that to the eye, we can actually, now that I've pointed it out to you, we can see that this image does not belong in here. So we're going to use what we call the select and mask option to remove that. And that'll come a little bit later in the lesson, folks. But just so you understand that for now, your composites, basically, it's as easy as that. We just select, we mask, and we put something below it. Everybody kind of understand that? A lot of yeses coming in. Okay. So we will remove the white edges in a few minutes, the halo effect. But before we get there, folks, I want everybody to understand the core kind of principles of image composites. So we've used our layers, we've used our masking, and we've used our selections. So the only thing that's left, folks, is our adjustments, okay? That's the only thing that we need left is our adjustments. So we have our adjustments, we have the panel here, we have our destructive ones in image, our non-destructive in layer, and we have the icon down the bottom here as well. Plenty and plenty of places to get our adjustments. Now, as you can see, the issue with this is that the tones of the actual image don't really match because they're coming from two sources. This is an extremely bright image, and this one, although bright, it has more orange tones than anything. So what we're going to do to fix our image colors is we're going to use an adjustment. So the two that we're going to look at today, folks, is color balance and photo filter. So I'm going to start with photo filter, and we're going to just come into the properties of it, and we're going to choose. Now you can choose pre-defaulted properties that come in it, okay, actual color filters that are built into Photoshop, or you can select a specific color yourself on what you want to do. So there is ways of changing the over color that sits on top of the images. We're literally just going to go to filter, and we're going to use a cooling filter. So we'll just find the correct one. We'll go with this one. So we'll do before and after, folks. This is our image. We have our bright sky and we have our rocky road here. And with our adjustment in, we can see that what we've done is we've added on a filter on top of our images, which will slap this light, it's a light nice blue on top of the image. So they now look like this is part of one image, with the exception of the halo effect, which I'll show you how to remove in a second, once everybody kind of understands what we've done just there. Okay, so everybody seems to be happy with that, folks. There's a lot of yeses coming in. Okay, perfect. So what we'll do, folks, is we're going to start moving some of these other skies across. But for now, we're going to just kind of start again from scratch. So I'll leave my bright sky where it is, but I'm going to remove my filter, and I'm going to remove the mask. Now, we are removing the mask. We want to hit delete. Otherwise, apply will delete the pixels. We don't want to do that. We want to hit delete and bring back our original sky. Now, so folks, you know yourselves, what we're going to do is the exact same thing. We could come in here and we could select the image itself, but you can see that it's a lot more work trying to do it than the difference of trying to just select the background here and fixing any little bits that need to be fixed. Okay, so we've made our selection. Then we're going to inverse with Control Shift and I, or select and inverse, and we're going to mask. And we can see that if I mask it on it, it will automatically change, and we have this effect. So let's step back. So rather than actually using the mask icon from here, we're going to use this option up top, which is select and mask. Now, if you're using an older version of Photoshop, this might be called Refine Edge. Okay, it was made in select and mask in CC. Basically, it took some elements that were in the older versions and combined them. But this is obviously, it's the exact same as the Refine Edge, just a new name and some new properties as well. Krista, the filter that I showed off, the photo filter, is an adjustment layer. It is indeed. Now, so what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to hit the select and mask option. It's part of any of your selection tools. So we can see we've got select and mask on our marquee, select and mask on our lasso, or select and mask on our quick selection or magic wand. Okay, so it's part of all of these options. Same refine edge. Otherwise, we can go to select and select and mask. And again, there is shortcuts, folks. Shortcuts for everything in Photoshop. So just so you can see, folks, my layout, my actual interface in Photoshop has changed. Okay. Anusu, again, the older versions will have what's called refine edge. Okay, not select and mask. Okay, so folks, I still have my selection. We can see that by the marching ants coming around my image here. And we have a new property panel. Now, the newer version have these brushes on the left-hand side here. I will demonstrate them later into today's lesson. Instead, we're going to focus on the properties on the right-hand side, because the refine edge will have majority of these properties for you to play around with as well. So we'll start with our view mode. This will literally just allow us to see how the image looks. Onion skin is a new option. Again, not everybody will have onion skin, but what it does is it allows us to have a look at the layers below with different levels of transparency. Okay. We have our marching ants, which is the way we're going to work and the way that everybody is kind of familiar with. Our overlay on black and on white, which is again for kind of helping you figure out the halo effect. Black and white, so we can see the selection in great detail. And on layers altogether, which is similar to the onion skin, but we can't change the transparency. Candice, I would make the selection first and then go into select and mask. The two, like some of them do have a quick selection tool built into it. Okay, but you have more selection tools on the outside for making better selections. You only have the quick selection tool built into the select and mask option. So do the selections outwards or inwards, up to yourself. But I'm going to do it from out in, if that makes sense. Okay. So folks, this is our edge detection. The smart radius just here will allow us to basically pick up on the edge detection of this, how pointy, how soft the actual radius needs to be. So smart radius and a little bit of radius is always advised. Basically, Photoshop will do a bit of the thinking for us, and you can see that certain things will cling to where they need to be because of the smart radius. It's really, really hugging where it needs to be. Smooth will smooth out our selection, okay? So think of it very similar to kind of like a feathery kind of look to our images. But smooth will allow us to change the selection and soften up edges that are usually sharp. Feather will work in terms of kind of blurring the selection, how close the selection is. So again, softening the edges. So smooth will soften the edges in terms of make a sharp object no longer sharp, while feather will kind of blur it that little bit, so it won't be as jointy. Okay. Contrast again is the difference between the edge detection. So again, you can kind of play around with how many colors it can pick up on for edge detection. And the main one that we want to understand for now, folks, is shift edge. So I'm actually going to zoom right into my selection here, and we're going to look at shift edge. Now, demonstration purposes, I'm going to shift the edge outwards to the right. This will move away from my halo effect and actually move, will actually move into the more orangey sky. What we want to do is actually shift our edges inwards. Can everybody see how we can now see that the original edge is on the outwards? Okay, it's actually being cut out of my selection. This is how we're going to get rid of the halo effect. Subtlety is key. Okay, you would never go like 100%, but you would like to kind of follow around the edge and make sure that we're going to remove that edge detection. That actual halo effect that we don't want, which is around here. Okay, now, so we'll zoom back out. So folks, this is a way we make our selections. This is a way of literally basically, you know, refining our selections to look better. So I'm going to come down here again, folks, and you'll see the difference between smooth and feather once I show it off again. Don't worry about that, folks. There will be other demonstrations in today's lesson. But what I'm going to do, folks, is we're going to come in here and we're going to apply an output setting. So you have selection, which will basically just make our selection for us, and then we can do anything else we want with our original interface. We can apply a layer mask, which will now mask this new selection. We can make it a new layer, which will duplicate just our selection and remove the background. We can do a new layer with a layer mask, which will basically make a new layer and still have masked in, so the sky is still there, or new document and new document with layer mask. Okay. So what I'm going to do, folks, is I am going to make just a layer mask, and I'm going to hit OK. So if I zoom in here to our original image, our halo effect is toned down an awful lot more. There's less of a halo of a blur in there. If you're unhappy with it, double click back in to your mask, shift your edge again. Okay, and again hit OK. Zoom in, and again you can see how we have this sharp edge. So again, that's where the smooth comes in. Hit OK, and it's less sharp. So again, there's a lot of parameters in there, folks, and it's not an easy thing to get used to. It will take practice, but it is how you remove the halo effect, and it is how you perfect your selections. So again, in here, folks, what we'll do is we'll actually just move another image across. We'll take this nighttime image instead. And what we'll do is I suppose I'll just drag and drop again. So we'll drag and drop, put it where it needs to be, and move it below. So we'll call this night. Again, folks, move tool, literally make sure you're on the right select layer, otherwise you'll get an error. We want a little bit of light pollution in here, as if there's a city in the distance. And that is another image composite. It's just a difference between a daytime and a nighttime. But again, folks, looking at this image, do you think it's complete? Or will we actually need to go in and use an adjustment to fix the color? So again, we're going to add on the photo filter on top here. Okay, and this will allow us again to choose specific colors. We have warming filters. Again, I would go with a cooling filter because the sun is gone. Okay, so it matches in. The density of the filter will allow us to choose how dramatic the colors actually are. So again, you can see we can make it extremely blue, which we wouldn't do. But it will allow us to kind of figure out what kind of colors we want in our images. So for nighttime skies, you want to go for kind of blues or magentas in here, folks, okay? To kind of fit in. But a big factor in our is obviously the colors that are in our image that we want to kind of make them look a little bit better. Now, there is other ways of kind of darkening certain scenes, again, with our other adjustments. So again, it's not just using one simple adjustment. It's about understanding everything. So if we come in and add our levels, we can kind of darken the scene a little bit. Okay. Make it a little bit less like the original image was taken during the daytime. Okay. How is everyone finding that then, folks? I will be going through the selected mask in terms of cutting out fur and hair before we finish today's lesson, but I just wanted to make sure everybody kind of understands the idea of the image composite. You can add one filter to just one layer. So that's a good question, Amy. Of course, you can see that these are affecting every layer below. So it's actually affecting this layer here as well. So that's called a clipping mask, and I do show it off in lesson 8, but I'll show it off today, folks, for you as well. So what we'll do is we'll take this image, and what we'll do, folks, is we'll just duplicate it. Just another way of moving it, and put it into our resource image. So we now have our night sky here instead. So let's just stretch this up, fit it into our image, and move it where we want to be. Okay, now, so we'll rename this one instead, and we'll rename this to, we'll just call it purple because it's got that kind of magenta purple overtone. Just going to stretch it out so it's about the right size. Move it into the correct spot. Okay. So I'm going to remove these filters, folks, because there's other filters that we can use. But again, it's about experimenting with everything, okay? But what we're going to do with this is we're going to leave our purple sky and we're only going to add a filter to our rocky road here instead. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on what we call a color balance. So a color balance is on here, folks, and if I start playing with it now, it will affect the entire image. So it is a way of using it like the color filter for just adjusting tones of the overall image, okay? But we get a lot more control over how the colors work. So we can see that we have, we can either remove cyan and replace it with red. We can do the same with the greens. We can add more greens on, or we can add more magenta in. Or we can do the same with yellow and blue. Okay? So it's about finding those tones that you want. And again, you can combine them to find the in-between kind of color tones, folks. Okay? Again, there's no one simple answer. Every image is going to be different. But what I'm going to do is, rather than actually just affecting the full image, we only want to affect the rocky road. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a clipping mask on. Everybody see this icon here down the bottom? This is what we call a clipping mask. My layer changes to have the icon attached here. There's 3 ways of doing this, folks. From the actual adjustment, we can hold Alt until we get the icon in between both layers. Or we can right click on the actual layer itself and create clipping mask. Okay, so we've now created the clipping mask. So this adjustment, the properties of this adjustment, will only affect the mountain image. It will not affect the layers below because it's clipped. It's attached to just this layer. So what I'm going to do, folks, is we're going to add a bit more magenta in here. We can darken it with a bit of blue. We can either lighten it with a bit of cyan, or we can add a bit of red in. I'm going to lighten it with a bit of cyan. And you can kind of see how this area over here is starting to match. So maybe a little bit more magenta. Again, kind of balance it out with the darker kind of blues. And then it's just about finding that easy shade in here so it looks. Now again, let's just before and after, folks. And I've only affected the one image with the clipping mask. Okay. Everybody happy enough with that, folks? Again, like it's everything that you've covered already. It's your adjustments, it's your layers and masking, and it's about using your selections as well. It's using everything we've learned so far to basically make our images come to life and our image composites to stand out. And there's plenty. I'm only using simple images, so be as creative as you need to be. What I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to demonstrate some other types, and we can always just jump back to that if needs be, okay? So I'm just going to close down some images here that we no longer need. And I'm going to open up 2 images. Let me see. I have loads of images to play around with. I definitely want to show you this one here. So again, it's about being creative, folks, with our selections for image composites. I'm going to take this image here, and I'm going to place it on top of the cup, okay? Now we're going to transform it. So again, show transform controls will allow us to scale everything up, holding shift to keep it in proportion. Now, I'm going to turn this layer off, folks. So we'll cover the cup with it. I'm going to turn the layer off here, and we're going to make a selection. So we can do multiple selections. Again, like a quick selection tool might mess up a little bit trying to select something like this because of all the the odd colors in here. So sometimes you will have to go back to basics and use the elliptical marquee tool. So we'll just find the nice easy circle, hold Alt, draw from the circle outwards, okay, and then find a nice place to put it. Move it into place, and we'll fix any additional parts that need to be done in a second, okay? So once we have our selection, folks, we're just going to come back to our C layer. With our selection, we're going to add on a mask. Now, it's not perfect, so what I'm going to do with our mask, folks, is I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to make sure my brush is a soft brush. We can change the size to whatever we want it to be, but make sure it's a soft brush, changing the hardness, and make sure that we are on white. And we're just going to paint in this soft edge around our cup. Okay, so we're just going to paint it around here, removing that hard edge from our original circle. And it looks like we have a bit of a reflection on the cup itself. And we're just adding in all this nice little detail to our image. And we now have a storm in a cup. Okay. So again, it's literally just understanding your selections and your masking and how to use them together within images. It also helps to have a bit of a creative mind. Okay. Because obviously you need to understand what you want to do with it. But this is just a mask and a selection, and we have a storm in a cup. Few other things you might want to do with it is like the opacity of the actual layer. So if we change the opacity down, we can allow the kind of bubbles to be see-through. So it still has that kind of bubbly kind of look to it. And you've got your C in a cup. Okay, thanks very much, Lynette. So again, folks, it is a teacup, cup of joe. But again, it's not as simple. I mean, composites don't need to be just changing the background. You can be as creative as you need to be with it. So like with something like this, folks, you could take it the next stage and you could add some seagulls flying around. You could put a boat into the actual water as if it's sailing the seas. Make sure it's like top down so it looks like we're looking into the ocean. Rasha, I did not inverse the selection of my circle. I just made a circle selection and then I just moved it around, fixed it and masked. Okay. Colin's saying I need a boat. I don't actually have a boat to put in it, folks. But again, I mean, if you wanted, you could have a little shark jumping out of it. Whatever. Just use your imagination. I'll kind of leave that there, folks. And what we'll do is we'll open up another demonstration. I have two. I should have more images here to play around with. Okay. So what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to remove this gentleman here instead. Now, as we can see, it's a lot of blue in this image. So we can use our magic wand. We can come in here and we can literally just select the blue of this image. I'm going to put the tolerance up to about 25. We come in, we'll make sure it's on the plus, and we'll fix in the little bits that we missed. And folks, now I've selected the blue of this image and I've not selected the statue. So again, it's about understanding how to inverse your selections, because it's easier to select the simple selections and then literally just inverse. And we have our gentleman. You could try use your quick selection tool to come in and get all this detail. But again, it's faster to kind of understanding which is the right tool for the right time. Okay, now what I'm going to do, folks, is with this, I am just going to select and mask. We're going to add a smart radius on for our edge detection. We're going to smooth out our selection a little bit. We're going to shift the edge inwards, so that way we don't get the halo effect of all of the blue in the image, okay? So shift it in, smooth it a little bit so it's not a jagged selection, kind of flows with it, and then we're just going to make it a layer mask. or we can do a new layer with a layer mask. We'll do a new layer with a layer mask. Okay. So we have our new layer here with our layer mask, folks. Now that I've actually gone and masked my image already, we can still use our move tool and we can drag and drop our image into a new document. And the mask comes with it. Okay. Colin, you can use paths to make selections. That's perfectly fine. I show that in the advanced course though, because obviously I want people to get used to selections on their own. So I'm just transforming this, folks. I mean, something like this. What I'll actually do is I'll right click as well, and I will flip so he's facing this way. So the light source does look like it's matching our original image, and we'll just hit OK. Turn off my show transform, and we've got a kind of Lord of the Ring-esque kind of image going on here. Okay, again folks, it's not a simple adjustment. It's not simply just taking the image and putting it in. We still have to understand that we can use our photo filters or our color balance. So I'd add a color balance on and I'd clip it so we're only affecting the gentleman. And we know there's a lot of green in here, so I would add on a bit of green to the image so it looks like it's matching with the reflection of the light source that's in here. So again, try and match it to whatever you think it needs to be, so it looks like it fits in properly. Okay. Now, folks, I know I'm doing that quite fast, but it is just an understanding of your selections, your masking, and your adjustments. Once you use all of these tools together, you'll pretty much master Photoshop. The rest is just about getting better techniques, faster workflows, and improving on those skills, which is what we do in the advanced. But at this stage, you should be able to make your own image composites quite quickly. Sarah, show transform will show me the transform box on our image, so I can literally scale how big and how small I want our statue to look. If it's on this image here, the show transform will allow me to change the image itself. Okay, it's basically edit and transform. That's all it is. But you can use it with your move tool. So it's just a quick way of getting there. If you want to, if you want to make them bigger, that's perfectly fine. It's just transforming, Lou. It's just making them bigger. Okay, within the image. Okay, folks, before we finish up for today, I want to show you one more thing which I think everybody will be extremely excited about. What we're going to do is we're going to take this nice kitty cat here. I'm going to take this image of the girl and we're going to open them up. So we're going to take this image of the cat here and we're going to move them to here. Okay? And we're going to do that by basically using our select and mask, folks. Okay? So we'll take our quick selection. We'll very quickly select our kitty cat in here. Now, normally, folks, if I was to take just this cat now and move him and drop it over, doesn't look too bad, but when I zoom in, we can see that he's missing a lot of his fur, his whiskers, and there's a bit of dirt still in here from the original image. Not a good way to start off with our composites. So what we'll do instead is, again, quick selection. Select our nice kitty cat. Okay. Bring into select and mask. And what we'll do, folks, is we'll use our edge detection. So we'll turn our smart radius on. We will zoom in and have a look at how this works. Keep an eye on the actual marching ants. And we'll move our radius up. And you can see it starts to hug the actual, every little bit of spike of fur that's coming out there. So as we move the smart radius right up, folks, we can see we get a much better selection. We will basically feather our option a little bit, because feather's good for playing around with hairs. Just a small bit, a little bit of smooth, and we'll turn our shift edges inwards. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll make this a new layer. Being destructive here, folks, but just so we can see. Take our kitty cat and we'll drop it in here as well. And we now have two kitty cats here just so we can see the difference between them. Okay. So this is, we've got whiskers, we've got better fur, and we're missing some of the dirt in here, folks. This is the joys of our select and mask. We can make much better selections. Okay, now we'll come back to one more time, folks, and we will come back into our kitty cat one more time. Quick selection tool. Select our kitty cat. Into select and mask. Smart radius the full way up. Shift our edge in a little bit. Again, small bit of feather. Doesn't need to be too much. Alright, shift our edge in up. And I'm going to show you this tool over here very quickly, folks. This tool is called the Refine Edge Brush. Okay, now it is only built into Photoshop CC, so I don't want to highlight it too much. I use it in the advanced course, so if you're looking forward to learning how to use it properly, we will cover it there. But again, not everybody will have this option. If you have CC, this will make your selections even better. The idea is to basically have about just under or just over half the circle outside. Click and draw around our selection. This will actually pick up on all of those nice details that we would have slightly missed out on the first time when we used just the smart radius. Okay, and we'll come in here, fix our image up like so. Okay, other brushes are like literally like a paintbrush for like undoing or adding selections in. Okay, so we're just going to fix it up a little bit. And folks, what I'm going to do now, again, same options. We're going to come in here and we're just going to use a new layer. We're going to take the cat and bring him over, put him in here, and again, I'm just going to move these kind of cats out of the way. 3 little cats in a row. And you can see that this option here, folks, the third option, which is our cat that we done the select and mask, is our best option in terms of how the whiskers look, how the fur looks, sticking out as well. So we'll just hide these two. Move our cat into place. Zoom in, and again, just add a kind of a color adjustment on, folks. Give him a little bit of a green overtone so he matches in with the color of the original image. Okay. So again, cutting out hair, folks, it can be done with this image as well. So something like I actually used the image of the girl to show you how to do it in the advanced, because this is something that is extremely difficult to do, cutting out curly hair. Which obviously, you know, if you have curly hair, folks, you'll know the difficulty of having it anyway, but trying to cut it out in Photoshop is just as bad as brushing it. So again, this is kind of the image that I use in the advanced, and I show you the same techniques on how to actually remove that out. But how's everybody finding the lesson so far, folks? Carolyn coming in saying just 5 cats, so the last edit looked partially shaved. What if we have some space inside the image? Just use rather than using the plus on the quick selection, use the minus to remove it. It's just about using your selection tools together. Okay, everybody happy enough with that? So folks, just to go back over everything that we've kind of looked at anyway, obviously we have our different color adjustments. We have our selections for actually changing backgrounds. We have just a little bit more creative side to our image composites. It doesn't have to be as perfect as that. Again, it's about adding other objects in. So again, if we wanted, folks, we could take pretty much any object and move it into another image. And then we have the select and mask for cutting out the difficult selections. Okay. Perfect. A lot of nice comments coming in. Everyone seems to be happy enough with today's lesson, folks. That's good to see. I am going to do a bit of Q&A, folks, with everybody. fix shadows. In terms of matching shadow tones though, folks, again, it's about using brush tools like your Born and your Dodge for darkening specific images or brightening specific images to make sure they match the tone within everything, okay? Perfect, okay. And make sure you have a go making your own image composites using your own images as well, folks. That is obviously the assignment that we're going to push for this week, is to use your own images and make your own image composite. Feel free to put it up on Facebook with the hashtag ShawPS so everybody can see it as well, folks. And best of luck. I look forward to seeing all of the images. Okay, folks, so before we finish up for today, I want to talk about the premium membership. So for anyone who maybe missed me talking about this amazing offer during lesson 5, basically we have decided to launch a really exciting offer on premium membership so that every single one of you can upgrade and enjoy the added benefits of being a premium member. It means you can secure your place on my advanced Photoshop course, obviously taught by myself, or you can take one of our other foundation courses, our other advanced courses. There's a world of possibilities for you there. And I really mean it, folks. This is an incredible opportunity to master every topic that Shaw Academy offers for a small fee rather than paying thousands on individual courses, okay? And you get our full range at your fingertips, okay? I wish this was an opportunity when I was a student myself. So, at the moment, you are on a 30-day trial with limited benefits. When you upgrade to premium membership, you will get everything. Okay, you get access to everything. You will have an unbeatable educational experience. So you will actually get your reserved place on my advanced course. You get access to all of our courses, free toolkits for every course you take, including the one you're on now, premium support, and obviously, folks, there's so much more to it. I look forward to seeing you all in my advanced course. A lot of people are extremely excited, as I expected. Now, I have been getting a lot of emails about the cost of the premium membership. So the first thing that I want to point out is that you will receive the offer in your own currency. Please ignore the euro price if you're not using euros at all. You can click on the upgrade button now up the top of your screen so you can see the price in your own currency. So what I've done, folks, here is I've excluded the prices from the slide to avoid confusion, okay, because it does happen. And I think a lot of you thought you would have to pay in euro, but that is not the case at all. Each of you will have the exclusive offer in your own currency. So please click on the upgrade button, click it now to see the exclusive discount in your own currency. Has everyone clicked on the button? Quick yes, folks. I suppose you're probably too busy looking at it, but there is a few yeses coming in. John is asking where to find the upgrade button. John, it should be active for you now, but just have a look there. It's a big red button on the top of your screen. If you can't find it, just type in info and we will send you the offer in your currency from our support team, okay? So at this point, everyone does have the offer in their own currency, yes? So obviously Rand for South Africa, dollar for the USA. Obviously we've got our Canadian, our Australian and our New Zealand dollars as well. Sterling or pound for the UK, depending on what way you want to say it. And all of the other currencies that we have, for Nigeria, Naira and everything else like that, okay? Lots of happy students typing in now from the looks of it. So yeah, the offer is a lot more understandable. Francis is saying the monthly option in Rand is cheaper than, obviously it is, it works out a lot better because you will not have to pay for the toolkit, Francis. So yeah, it will work out cheaper because toolkits are included, okay? Well spotted for you there, okay? So yeah, folks, before I move on, has everyone seen the offer in their own currency? After all, what does euro mean if you don't use it? Okay, I can see a lot of comments coming in anyway that people are delighted. So I will show off the European prices now. Okay, so here it is in the euro prices. So folks, obviously usually it's $49.95. That's the way it works for the equivalent. You're getting the discount on top of that with Shaw Academy. So the discount is up to 50% depending whether you go for a 3-month, 6-month or 12-month option. So I know a lot of you have joined, and I can see a lot of you are doing really great. So a lot of you have gone for a kind of 3-month option to cover the duration of your professional diploma, and this works out even cheaper, folks. I get that. That's brilliant. And a lot of you, actually, I was surprised, have gone for the 12-month option. You must be planning on taking lots of courses. Well, the good news is, as an unlimited, as a premium member, courses are unlimited. You can take as many as you want, and people were asking, you can do more than one at any time. Gene Quinn saying US education is so much more expensive. Delighted with this offer for the chance to get the associate's degree, which is obviously their equivalent of the EQF level 5. And I suppose, yeah, that is the beauty of the internet. You can now access top quality education from outside the US, but without the extortionate prices, which is brilliant. For everyone else, folks, again, if you have any questions about pricing, type in info, INFO, and you will receive the offer in your own local currency. Okay. Now, as I mentioned during the previous lesson, as soon as you upgrade to premium membership, you will be able to reserve your place on the next step of your educational journey, and that is my advanced diploma in Photoshop. So it'll commence 2 weeks after you finish the foundation course, which is perfect timing. And this is the part of the premium membership that you've all seemed most excited about. I saw lots of you upgrade straight away and have already secured your spot on the next semester of the advanced Photoshop course. I see people have emailed me over as well. I've seen Jane, Nancy, Kerry, all upgraded. Is there anyone else? I'm sure I missed a few people. There's a lot of me's and a lot of yeses coming in there. And don't forget Steve, who won as well. Stephen Montgomery from the US as well, who has won as well. But lots of yeses coming in there. And folks, remember, upgrading has so many benefits. So you're not just getting the advanced course, but at least you can relax knowing you have your place secured. If you change your mind, that's perfectly fine. We've plenty of other courses, folks, that you can have a look into. And of course, due to the fact that my course is now an internationally accredited level 5 professional diploma, that it is filling up fast. So although we're only halfway through this foundation course, just over. If you are serious about progressing with your education in Photoshop, then, it's a good idea to secure your spot today. Avoid disappointment. I always hate when I have to turn people away as places are full. So, in total, your Photoshop journey is an amazing 16 weeks in total. The foundation course will cover the very basics of the amazing topic, but the advanced course is where you'll be blown away, okay? So you will learn so much more, and you'll be so confident in applying your knowledge and creating those stunning images. Okay, now for anyone who has missed me talking about the advanced Photoshop course, I will do a quick recap, okay? The advanced course was specifically designed to provide all of my students a better understanding of Photoshop, how they can use it to better their own images, whether it's professional, personal, whether you're in design, photography. You will get the most important information needed for yourself. So think of one of your own creative ideas, that one idea you had for a fantastic image. That creative thought you could only visualize but didn't know how to make. I will teach you how to make that, and that idea will become real, basically. So you'll have it to show off and to wow your friends and family with. And you can even step back and wow yourself. You'll actually have so many skills under your belt. So think about what you've learned so far, folks. As I said, we've only scratched the surface. You're going to learn so much more. Hopefully you're all happy with the small look at adjustments we've had so far. Let's think of what else we can do when we invest ourselves into each enhancement. We can create stunning, realistic images while also, I suppose, exploring our kind of creative souls. What about getting you to a stage where you can work at a more efficient pace, start and finish a project quickly, so that way you can get out there and make a bit of money, get a few clients. We'll be looking at combining everything together to get you to be a passionate Photoshop expert. So obviously we're going to look at how to make dynamic composites. You'll be amazed at how beautiful your images will be. There's going to be professional retouching. I do so much in the advanced course, folks. It's going to be perfect for all of you. Absolutely great. And again, I've designed the course around my 3 main students, which obviously are my photographers, designers, and my enthusiasts, okay? So you will learn so much more information on this course. I hope you're all looking forward to it. It seems like you are. And again, just to kind of, just so you kind of understand how it works, again, you're currently doing the basic course in Photoshop, as you all know, which is, I mean, it's the beginning of your educational journey, but if you're going for that professional diploma, the next step is the semester 1 in your advanced course, folks. So I look forward to seeing you all on that as well. And again, as a premium member, you get access to everything. So check out all of our other courses, folks. Don't just rely on mine, but I do look forward to seeing you all on the advanced. Now, folks, again, it's only available for a limited time. So I want to see you all typing in info so you get more information on the actual offer, especially if you missed it the last time round. And this will obviously help us to know who's interested, so we can give you personalized emails from my support team if needed, or phone calls if needed, folks, if you need any more information. Just type in the word info, which is INFO for info. Okay. Right, folks, so it does bring us to basically the end of today's lesson, and most importantly, I suppose congrats to everybody, because we're very close to moving to our last week. Okay. Are you all enjoying it? Lots of yeses coming in there. I have to say I'm loving this course. You're also interactive, and you're really getting involved. It makes it a pleasure to kind of teach this course. So a big thank you from me. Now, lots of questions coming in about the premium membership, so bear with me, folks. I mean, we've got Sally asking, can she just buy the toolkit? You could, of course, Sally. It's a little bit more expensive than the membership, because obviously toolkits are included for all courses that you add on, but it is possible. Lots of students saying they've upgraded. Carol, Rebecca, Joe, Matt, lots of names coming in there. Anyone else thinking about upgrading? Diana's asking how many places are left on the semester of the advanced course. I don't have exact numbers on me now, Diane, but the last time I checked, over 50% was already gone, and I'm expecting a lot of places to fill by the time the actual foundation course ends. I don't know if you reserved your spot or not, but I would recommend it. So I can also see James, Sarah, and Laura have upgraded coming in. A few more names coming in there as well. Diane's got back to me saying that she has reserved her place as well. Okay, Roman is asking, does he have to stay with us for the entire advanced course? What if it's too advanced for him? Roman, I use the word advanced just to let you know that it's a step up from this course, okay? It's explained as great as this course is explained. We actually get a little bit more time with some subjects, so we get to go back over stuff that we've already seen, but with greater detail. So you'll actually learn so much more with it. And we also have everything's practical classes. So there's a lot of editing with Photoshop. We actually get to see the tools in full swing. So you'll actually love it. And again, as far as membership goes, you've got plenty of time to get over through the recordings and everything else, Roman, okay? Ken coming in there about toolkit as well, wondering if he upgrades, will he get the toolkit for this course? You will indeed, Ken. So it's not just for every course going forward. It will be included. I make sure that the students that upgrade get it for the course that we're on now. That you will get it from my course. So there is the benefits to it that way as well. Okay. As always, folks, do feel free to email myself over if you have any questions about the membership or any of the lessons or anything like that. I'm always willing to help the students out personally myself. You do have your support teams that are helping you out as well, so you can always get in contact with them. But if you are unsure on anything, just feel free to get in contact with me, okay? So, folks, look, I'm going to end today's lesson, but thank you very much. Depending on where you are in this world, have a good day, a good evening, and a good night, and I'll see you all back for our next lesson.